Hey folks, I'm Corin Spicefreak Sloss, as I'm sure you all know by now, and I'm a little bit late this time and a little bit windswept looking. Sorry about that, but I've just been into town to deliver my sister's Christmas present to the post office. Not really to her because, you know, she lives in Scotland. But anyway, what we're here for today is mine. And it's quite weighty too, so I suspect there's a fair bit in here. I do have a Dear Corin message in here, which is the only reason I know that this is my Secret Santa, because it didn't actually say. And yeah, 3 things in there, which are quite large bottles, another jar of something, and another jar of something. So yeah, that's a fair bit for supposedly £10, but we'll see why that is in a moment, because I already read a tiny bit of the letter, just because I didn't know what it was about, so I have some idea how they've gotten away with that. But anyway, first up we have cowboy candies. So, candied sweet pickled jalapenos, traditional in America, but not so well known over here. However, I have had a few of them lately, so we'll see how they compare to the other ones I've had in a bit. Other things in this package include... oh, this is another jar of cowboy candies with some rather redder peppers in it. Best before the 25th of the... wait, best before the 25th of the 10th, 20? Ooh, that doesn't sound good, unless they were made then, because that could be a made-on date. Either way, they look fine, so I'm still going to try them. One way or the other. And what have we got in this one? Oh, I'm seeing the word ghost, and the word marmalade. Haha! Ghost marmalade. Now, I'm assuming, since it doesn't say otherwise, and the peel looks like it, that this is orange. But we'll find out what sort of marmalade that is in a moment. And then this one just says moonshine on it. I have my doubts that this is actually moonshine, but you never know. I suspect, though, that it's more of a moonshine-based sauce. Quite liquidy, you can see a lot of pieces of what appear to be jalapenos in it. And there's a little bit of sediment at the back, but that'll easily shake in. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, this looks berry-coloured. Blueberry sauce of death with an unhappy smiley on there. Nice. So, no hints as to what's in there besides the blueberry. And the final one just says scorpion, but that is a nice shade of orange. So, as you may have guessed by now, all 6 of these items are homemade, or at the very least sent to me by the producer. So, let's read their letter now. Dear Corin, I hear that you've been a very good boy this year, so I've been busy in the kitchen and made you some chili products as a reward. All of them have been homegrown except for the jalapenos, which came from a friend. I hope you enjoy them. I've included a bit of a rundown of what you have below. Keep up the great work with your chili reviews. I'm always amazed by your knowledge. Top stuff. Merry Xmas, any UK Secret Santa. So, BSOD, the blueberry sauce of death, is a ton of fresh blueberries, ghost chilies, and a bit of citrus. So, definitely sounds like my sort of thing. Really pleased with this sauce, though it's a little thin, so I'd probably use a bit of xanthan to thicken it a tad next time. This is absolutely awesome on top of any kind of fruity/lemony tagine. Not a use I would have thought of, but I like the sound of it. It's also pretty good mixed with butter as a wing sauce. Yeah, I can see that, and maybe on ice cream. I've not got around to trying that yet. Right, well, it depends how vinegary it is there, because I find a lot of sauces, even if they don't taste too vinegary up front, can be too vinegary for me on ice cream, but at the same time, blueberry on ice cream is a good mix, so yeah, we'll see. Then we've got the scorpion, which is Butch Tea scorpions. So not your standard scorpions, not your marugas, well, somewhere in the middle of them heat-wise, and the most fruity, orangey kind of flavour to them. Then Romano peppers, which, from what I understand, are the same as Ramiro peppers, those sweet, pointy, long peppers, as they call them in supermarkets. That are just, they're your standard red bells, but a little bit better. Generally a little bit sweeter as well. Then a bit of garlic and red onion. Apparently whoever sent this to me is go-to sauce for eggs. I'm trying to create a scorpion sauce that has a distinctive scorpion flavour profile without being insanely hot. Pretty pleased with this batch, but I'll still tweak it a bit. Then the moonshine. When making the cowboy candies, you always end up with a bit more liquid and all fit in the jars. It's an interesting process as you start with syrup, but it ends up quite thin with all the liquid that's released from the jalapenos. Rick from the Chili Project always calls this leftover moonshine. It's pretty nice as a finishing glaze for any kind of meat, and a great Thai-style dipping sauce if you mix it with some fish sauce, lime and garlic. Okay, so that gives me an idea of what to do with my leftover liquid from the Chili Project's one. So that's a thing that I will have to try out later. But also, we shall see what theirs is like. I think with that one, I will try the cowboy candies themselves before I try the liquid, given that it's the liquid from the cowboy candies. So the cowboy candies themselves come in 2 types. One is standard jalapenos, but the other is made with Taquito jalapenos, which are pretty hard to come by apparently. I've never heard of them before myself. Apparently they have some pretty extreme corking, and yeah, if you get a close look there, you can see, I don't know how well you can actually see it, but there is definitely a lot of that woody texturing on the chili. You can see all the lines. Lash these on burgers, pulled pork, cheese toasties, etc. Yep, definitely sounds like a thing to do with those. And then ghost marmalade. Apparently a bit of an experiment, but turned out pretty well. Could only get juicing oranges, as Seville aren't in season. Yep, so they'll probably be a little less bitter, I think, than your standard orange peel for marmalade. Apparently that means that the set is a little light. Yeah, you can see it shift slightly as I invert the jar. Perhaps not as thick a marmalade as some, but still spread nicely on toast. And yeah, as whoever sent this to me says, they like it that way on their toast as well. So, all sounding good. Grab a spoon and, well, let's grab the fork actually, because I think the cowboy candies are the way to start this. So, that sounded like a good seal. So I guess the stickiness on the lid of this is just from when it was being packaged. It's clearly not leaked if it pops like that. And yeah, there we go. Nice fork full of jalapenos. So right away, that has a not off-putting but noticeable slight soapiness to it, which I know doesn't sound like a good quality, but it's the first indicator that these are not your average jalapenos. These are jalapenos that actually have some heat to them. Yeah, that's slightly soapy quality you get with the annuum heat. Not everybody gets that, as far as I can tell, but I can tell that there's heat in these. I mean, they're not wild, but they're definitely hotter than your average cowboy candy. And there's more of a green freshness to them as well. Whereas the Chilli Project one that I mentioned already, and will, well, no, I would say I'd link to it, but, well, I'll link to his website, I guess, at some point. Oh, sorry, my nose really itches for some reason. Probably because I've been out for the first time in ages. Hay fever's like that sometimes, though it shouldn't be season for that anymore. Anyway, yeah, the Chilli Project one, sweeter, bit fruitier. This one, you can definitely taste the green chili. You can definitely tell that these are fresh, slightly hotter jalapenos. They're quite nice. Not quite as dramatic a seal. I don't think this lid lends itself quite so well to that nice pop, but I can still tell that this was sealed fine. And these ones are full of seeds. I'm going to hold my hand under it so it doesn't drip on my computer, but hey, you can see all the seeds there. These Taquito jalapenos, they're different to the other ones again. They're not as green, which is unsurprising because half of them aren't actually green at all. They've got more crunch to them, which probably is at least in part because of the corking. They're not as hot as the green jalapenos. Green jalapenos weren't especially hot, but they were hotter than most. What really sets these apart, though, is they have a nice savoury undertone to them. They do definitely taste different to the other ones. And that savoury note is really nice. Between the two, I think this is the one that's going to go best on your burgers. Definitely worth going for those special jalapenos. Though I don't know exactly how hard they are to get hold of, because I've not even heard of Taquito ones before. Now for the ghost pepper marmalade. As said, a little bit thinner than your average marmalade, because they apparently couldn't get the Seville oranges. These are just your standard juicing oranges. So a little bit less pectin in there. But I don't mind my marmalade being a little more syrupy in texture. So great orange flavour to that, almost molassesy note to it. Definitely caramelised sugars in there. And definitely nowhere near as bitter as your Seville orange marmalade. The heat's just starting to come in now, it's quite late. Quite different. Maybe if you are particularly into marmalade, that'll put you off. Because typically marmalade, it's bitter fruit peels, it's sugars. You get that proper bitter-sweet quality going on. This is leaning more towards the sweet and caramelised side of things. A lot less bitter. But for me, I mean, marmalade's alright, but it's never really been my thing. So the fact that this is a less bitter marmalade actually suits me quite nicely. Still going to go great on toast. Going to go great in my morning porridge, where I'm already actually having a blood orange marmalade at the moment. And it's also probably going to go quite nicely on your chicken as a glaze right towards the end of cooking. Yeah, I don't know what possessed me to put marmalade in porridge for the first time, but I liked it. I liked it a lot, and it definitely wakes me up in the morning. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that one. You're scared of marmalade, Adele? What's up with it? Oh, jeez, Adele. Jeez, that's a horrible ghost story. See how this so-called moonshine from the jalapenos goes. Smells very fresh. Smells like the green jalapenos. That has more of a citrusy note. Also tastes slightly spiced, as though there's nutmeg or cinnamon in here or something. Though I'm not sure if there actually is. I'm seeing tiny, tiny flecks of red when I look really closely, but I bet you can't even see those on there. Oh, maybe a tiny, tiny bit, actually. I'm not sure. So yeah, this sauce, it's a little more citrusy. It's not quite as obviously fresh jalapenos as the actual jalapenos are, but it's still very much the flavour of cowboy candy. It's that fresh green with the sweet. I don't know what more to say about that. I like that a lot. I actually think I like that more than the green cowboy candies themselves. Though the Digito ones are still something a little special. Still quite fond of those. Yes, spiced up gin and tonic sounds like a goodie with that. Definitely. If this was as fresh green as the cowboy candies themselves, I wouldn't agree with that. But as is, and with that slight citrusy note to it, definitely going to work, I agree. That is a great suggestion, Stu. Now let's try this blueberry sauce. Very blueberry up front, and then the moment the flavour starts to die away, you feel the tingle of the chili there, and it just kind of gets stronger and stronger in the throat. Heat-wise, I don't think it's anything above a normal ghost pepper sauce, but it's definitely up there with a first ingredient ghost pepper sauce, maybe on the lower end thereof. The citrus isn't too blatantly obvious, but the citrus is definitely there and it's helping preserve the flavour of the blueberry, keep it a bit fresher. So this isn't the usual cooked down blueberry sauce that I've taken to. It doesn't have that really rich, surprisingly savoury berry flavour, but I reckon drizzle that over a cheesecake or something. That's going to be really nice. So finally, we got the scorpion one, which is Butch Tea scorpions, which are the more flavourful scorpions, not the hottest of scorpions, but not the mildest of scorpions either. It's Romanos, which are also Ramiros, which are your sweet, pointy, not quite bells, but basically heatless peppers. Garlic and onion, right. So yeah, I'm expecting savoury, I'm expecting a bit of punchy garlic from this one. You can definitely smell some of the garlic and onion in that. Not as hot as I was expecting. Can definitely taste the garlic and onion, but it's not got the pungency of fresh garlic. But its flavour is closer to fresh garlic than to cooked garlic, I think. Definitely getting the sweet peppers, definitely getting that fruitiness of the scorpion in there. Surprisingly mild for what's gone into it. I was expecting that to be the hottest of the bunch, but I actually think the blueberry sauce of death is probably hotter than this scorpion one, but that has a real fruitiness to it. I think it is just coming through from peppers. I'm not totally sure what I'm going to do with that one, because I don't think it'll be just eggs for me, but at the same time, I don't think I'd mind putting on eggs, and I will definitely use that. It's just a question of for what. So, yeah, I've liked all of these. The standard cowboy candies were probably my least favourite of the bunch, but I mean, they're not bad, and it was nice to have them as a comparison to the Digito ones, because the Digito ones are rather more special, and in fact I'm going to have some more of those right now. Yeah, the richness, the crunch, these definitely quite different to your standard cowboy candies. Still definitely the same chili, but there's more to them. That way I feel there's an almost woody note as well, which I suspect might have something to do with the fact that these are really corked jalapenos. So they've got that woody scar tissue to the peppers. Basically, as the pepper grows unevenly, or too quickly for its skin, the skin cracks and then it scars and it forms a slightly woody texture to it. Can be a sign of a nice heritage variety. But yeah, cowboy candy in general is quite cool because it's unlike any sauce, it's unlike any of the jams you get. And yes, it's got the taste of pickled jalapenos, but it's also got the sweetness to it. It's not just sweet, it's also very much that savoury, fresh, green flavour, and it's the contrast between the two that makes it something special. Now, I don't know how either Arena's or Sean's cowboy candies. I might have to try those at some point and see how they compare to the ones I've had. Chili Project I was big into. The slight hint of lemon drop they put in it really adds an extra level of flavour going on there, because you get that fruitiness, that slight sweetness, in with the very savoury green chili and the actual sweetness of the pickling. Daddy Cool's I sadly wasn't as fond of. His are a caramel flavour and the caramel just tastes too fake to me. They taste quite artificial and I wasn't into them, though the friend I tried them out with quite liked them, so maybe that's just me. But yeah, I'll have to try Arena's and Sean's, see if theirs are any different, see what sets theirs apart. So, you mentioned that Sean does cowboy candy, and now you're mentioning that Sean does cowgirl candy. Are those two separate products, or are they just the same thing and one's his name for the other or something? What's going on with that, Stu? Oh, pineapple in it, okay. Yeah, definitely gonna have to give that a go then, because if the lemon drop in the Hot shot jalapenos from Chili Project adds that nice fruity, citrusy quality. I reckon the pineapple is going to be gorgeous as well. I reckon it's going to do something very similar to that. And yeah, of this bunch, I think my favourite has to be the scorpion one, just because you've got that garlickiness, but it doesn't add too much savoury. You still get all the fruity qualities of the peppers, the sweetness from that coming through, and it does highlight some of that butch tea flavour. But I reckon I'm going to use all of these. Very happy with the bunch. Mentioned at the start that I've got 6 jars here, which seems a lot for the £10 price limit. I reckon if this was retail, these would be sort of 4 or 5 quid a jar, but I could be wrong. However, there's also a decent chance that around 50% of that would be the markup, the profits, the covering the costs of actually running the business. So actually producing these probably costs significantly less, might actually only cost as much as 2 or maybe a little less, so this could just about fit within the £10 range, especially as this moonshine is in fact just a byproduct of making the cowboy candies, even if it is a great thing in its own right. Basically, I have no idea whether they've stuck within the price limit or not, because while I know some things about the retail side, I can't say for sure what this has cost them to produce it either way. If I've got more than £10 worth of stuff, I've got more than £10 worth of stuff. That's not really a problem. As long as people aren't taking the piss and you don't feel like you have to reciprocate giant packages, then it doesn't really matter what people spend on you. If they spend more than the limit, then that's just overly generous of them, and to an extent at least, that's a very nice thing. I'm definitely not going to complain about the amount I've got. I've been quite happy with this. I guess that's all for now. Yeah, catch you next time. Have a very Merry Christmas, and I'll see you again. Bye.